Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Steve, this is Wilmer Woodworks, and I'm going to do one last Christmas ornament design for you, and that is this little mini bottle capture. So here is a prototype that I put together, and this is just the Crown Royal, and I did want to highlight the bottle's shape and then just do a nice little festive little saying there. I did forget to put the little catch on here, but I will do that in the next design. So I will show you how, now this is just a friction fit. So I'll show you how I did this outline, and I will show you how I use cardboard as well to make sure that I get the best design. So I don't know if you know, but I've seen a lot of advertisements for the shaper tool, and it's this really nice nice product, but it's $100, so I can't justify the $100 fee just yet. So instead I am going to just use a simple piece of paper. So I'm going to use this paper. I'm going to trace out with a magic marker the shape of the bottle, and then once I trace out the shape of the bottle, I will import this photo into Lightburn, and then I will show you how. I'm not going to use the trace tool on Lightburn. I'm just going to use the image to draw simply around, knowing one measurement. Usually what I do is I take the bottom measurement, and then I can line up the photo with that in the software, scale it down, do a couple of test cuts, make sure we get it right so the bottle does have a friction fit. And then once we do this as well, I'll probably do like a little capture ring either around the center of the bottle with a couple of tabs similar to this here. So this will go around, and then we'll have some indentations here just to hold that bottle so it doesn't fall out on the tree. So that's enough of me explaining what we're going to do. Let me just jump right into it and show you how I do it. But before I do, I want to encourage you, if you have any comments about the build, about the project, or questions. I love hearing you guys' questions. I try to get them answered the best I can, as quickly as I can. But please, right now, just if you have a question, if it's not even about this file, just leave it down below, and I'll get to it quickly. All right, let's get to it. I have already designed the Old Smoky, the Crown Royal, and the Fireball. So for this example, I could either do the Gentleman Jack or the Whiskey. Let's do this King's Creek Whiskey. This is actually one of my new favorite whiskeys that I've found. And I believe this is the same similar shaped bottle that is very common for many other alcohol mini bottles that are out there. So what I'm going to do is hold this, and just with a magic marker, I'm just going to trace it the best I can. And now I am not going to be using the trace feature on Lightburn, so it doesn't have to be too exact, because I am just simply going to use this as a reference point to draw around. You do want to make sure you keep your marker pretty much the same angle. Alright, so I messed up a little bit there, but luckily we do get the idea. And what I've done too is I will just take about half of this drawing. I'll trace half of it in the software, and then I'll just mirror that. So now that that's drawn, I'm going to take a quick snapshot with my phone. Going to import this into the computer, and we will start designing. Okay, now that we have Lightburn open, I'm simply going to transfer that image over to my laptop, and I'm just going to drag and drop that image in. As you can see, that image comes over and it is very large. I'm just going to shrink it down right now. And the first step that I am going to do is take the bottle and just measure the bottom of the bottle here. All right, so this bottle measures exactly 1¼ inches. So I'm going to scroll in here. I'm going to take my pencil tool. I'm going to hold shift, so that gives me a straight line, and then hit escape. So this singular line here, I want to be 1¼ inches. So 2.5. And I'm going to make this a bright color just so I can see it. So this image, we're just going to mark that we're not going to output this just so it's a little softer, and make it a little bit smaller, and that should be perfect. Okay, so now all I'm going to do, now that I have this sized up, I can delete this reference line, and now I just have to draw half of this bottle. So again, with my pencil tool, starting at the top, going to click, holding shift because I want a nice straight top, enter, shift, enter, and again, if you want, you could zoom in. You can click and hold to get a little bit of a bend to that if you'd like. Now this bottle does fillet out, and if you make a mistake, it's fine. You can always go back and adjust something later. Okay, and we'll just zoom down. I want this to be as straight as we can. And what I'll do is I'll make this bow out a little bit, and I'm only looking to go about halfway. So we hit escape to finish our last, and now that is half of our bottle. So if I just select on this and hit Control D, that will duplicate it, and then up here you can mirror, and then holding Command or Control on a PC, you can adjust that out. And you can see that my drawing wasn't really straight on both sides, but we can deal with that later. So what I like to do is, before I group these two together, so we can just move that image over. Actually, I'll just turn it off for now. I like to select both of these, hit Control Duplicate. So now I've got the two halves in case I have to adjust something left or right. And I will just make this a different layer. So I'll make that layer 3, and we're going to say we're not going to output layer 3. Okay, so what I can do now is I will fire up my machine, put our piece of cardboard in. Actually, let me get my camera so we can set this up. All right, so all I've done here is just put a piece of cardboard in there so I can test cut this. So I just want to make sure that it will fit the bottle that I'm trying to design around. So first we'll frame, and that is too low. So let's bring this laser up. There we go. And our cut settings, the cut settings that I've been using for cardboard is 250 by 100. All right, so now we can just take our bottle and do a little test fit. So that is all right on the top and bottom, but these hooks here are not correct. And actually, we could probably make that a little bit lower on the bottom. So let's make these adjustments, and then we'll test cut it again. All right, so we'll just delete half of that. And what I can do is going to the node adjustment. And we could just bring this point up a little bit while holding Shift. And hold this. Okay, and then, so that'll get us the height we need. And then we just need to adjust right here, bring that up just a tad. All right, so now we will select all that, Control D for duplicate, mirror that, Command, and let's see what that looks like. And remember, we want 1.5 inches, so, or it was 1.25 inches, right? Let's measure that again. Yep, 1.25. So let's just draw another reference line here. Okay, so that should give us enough space. We might even be able to move that in just a tad. Yeah, so that should be good. So let's try that again. That's why I like this cardboard. It lets you test out a few cuts before you commit to something. Okay, after just a few minutes with a couple of adjustments, we went from a simple sketch on a piece of paper to a couple of test cutouts to a final product. So this is cut out of cardboard, and I'm really happy with the way that fits. So now all I'll do is continue out on the entire design. But I will make sure that I keep this cutout file separate as a reference. Just in case, I'm going to make an ornament that's similar to this Yule Fuel that may have some other sayings or whatnot. But if you want to use this for like a Valentine's Day card or a simple gift, or maybe if I wanted to just put a whole bunch of these types of alcohol in a box, a gift box, these are all my favorites, but here's a little variety pack for you to sample. You can make a custom insert to a simple box. So I would recommend that for all your cut files, if you have mini bottles, that's how I do my organization. So I'll have a file in Lightburn that'll say mini bottles, and then under each bottle it'll say, Kings Creek Whiskey, generic bottle, Gentleman Jack, Fireball. So I already have those sizes, so I don't have to sit there and lay out and do all this this tweaking again. So we'll continue back over to Lightburn. We'll make ourselves a nice little Yule Fuel or Santa Sip, or I don't know, we'll put something clever on there with the words. But we'll put that top little blip on there, and then if you need a last minute gift, all you gotta do is make a quick run to the liquor store, pop your little bottle in there, and you're good to go. Alright, so let's finish this up. I do like to save these so I don't have to relay everything out, but before I do, we want to connect all of this. So I'm going to go to Edit Nodes, which is right here. It's this little icon. And you can see under the icon, they give you all the short codes. So if you want to smooth the node, convert, insert, align, extend, all that kind of items. So all I'm going to do right now is I'm going to click on this, and once you see that little cursor change, it will connect. And sometimes it's hard for you to see it, so you may have to zoom in. There did I have it? There we go. So now that line changes and it is connected. But you can see that it's kind of off a little bit. So I do want to just straighten that out so it is a nice straight design. But also with connecting with the bottom or the top, I do want to connect the bottom as well. So now you can see I can move these independent and they move together. And what's nice too is once these are grouped together and you just hit the generic select tool, you click on this, and then it gives you all of these options for offsets or Boolean unions or welding and things like that. So I am going to hit Control Copy. I'm going to open a new Lightburn. You can open as many Lightburn files as you'd like. So I am going to save this project first. Actually, here, let me cancel. Let me hit File, bottle sizes. So these are my sizes right here. I will just put this under a different layer, and my text will be Kings Creek. Now that that is saved, I can go back to my other window, and we can clean this up. We can show these files. I don't need this, and I don't need this. So let's just design our ornament. We can do a simple card similar to what we've had before. I really hate that yellow color, so let's make this blue. And I want to go right click. Nope. There we go. Now we can right click. Go to show properties. We're just going to give this a little bit of an ease on the corners. And now that we have this selected, now all we want to do is a 1/4 inch offset. So 2.5. Nope. Well, we want to go outward with that offset. Click OK. For this circle, we're going to go with an inward offset. And then with holding Command, we'll select both, weld these two together, and we will just bring that in. Let's do this. Before we move any farther, I'll just duplicate this. It's always nice to have a duplicate in case you do mess up. Okay, now with our duplicate, we just want to do a simple Boolean union of these two shapes. So we'll select, select the outside, select the bottle, holding Command, then hit Boolean Union, and then this gives us the nice little cutout relief, our nice shape. So this will be cut out, and then this will be cut out. So we're going to hit Control Duplicate. Right, Control. There we go. Now Control Duplicate. So now this is our duplication of that, and I just want to ungroup this so I can delete that. Essentially this is our back layer here, and then this is our front layer, and now all we have to do is put our text in there. Now with text, you do want to try to choose text that will touch it like a script or brush script or something like that. And a lot of the programs that script is available by default. So let's see. We could type this as Santa's. Yeah, it looks good. Santa's Elixir. Let's see if we went to all uppercase. No. I don't like how those eyes are. Okay, I think that looks good too. But so since these words are going over, what we want to do is select both of these, duplicate them, and then put them on their own layer. And what we're going to do is we're going to make this line really light, whereas the blue line and the red line are going to be cuts. And actually that can all be the same. So if we select the blue line, we'll just make that all a cut. So what we're going to do is we want to merge these two together. So then these words are going to be caught there and there. And then again, holding Command and merge that. So that's going to be very fragile when we do cut that. So we do have to be aware of that. But then we'll go back and we'll trace this first. So our cut line, our trace line will definitely be above the cut line. So we'll trace this first. And then this will show us too, like right here you can see. So that'll engrave right there, so we'll know where to color in. Okay, so we just need to do a few more things. One of which is get rid of this copy. We don't need that anymore, so we'll delete that. Let's group this together. Group this together. Now we'll try to align both of these. There we go. So this will show us exactly what the two will look like. Maybe we can engrave a Santa Claus design or something. All right, now the last thing we need to do is put that little piece on top to hold the string. So what I'll do is I want to put that a little offset close to the bottle, but a little offset. I'll put that right there and then do an offset outward, 1/4 inch. And I'm gonna group these two together by welding them. Weld these together, Control duplicate. Move this one out of the way, Command, now we group, now we align. Okay, so now we have our ornament, we have our Santa, we have our words, we have our engraving. Very last thing we need to do is a capture ring, and in order to do a capture ring, we need to take the size of the bottle. Something to keep in mind that when we are doing these blocks here, you will want to make sure that they are the right measurements. So if we change this back to settings, back to units, go to millimeters, here we go. We want to make sure that the width on this is 3 millimeters, but the width on this large piece is 6 millimeters. All right, so we'll make this height will be 3 millimeters, and the width doesn't matter. I'll just try to go for roughly half. So we duplicate. Yep, I want this to be centered. Okay, and then we'll just Control duplicate, move this over. All right, so now that we've moved this out, we do want to make sure that we move this to the outside so we can actually push that through, and then this will be the one that will have to be 6 millimeters, because this is essentially going to go through 2 pieces of material. Okay, so I think that's good. Let's just move this, go back here, holding shift, we'll just grab all of that, and move this up. And now before we move and merge any of these, we do want to deselect the groupings. So we are only selecting the bottle and then the item, and we do want these to be tabs on here. On the circle we want it to be a cutaway, but on the ornament we want it to be a tab. So we do want to unselect, just take the bottle, holding shift, select the tab, do the Boolean union, select the tab, do the Boolean union, and then we group all of this back together, and we'll just put this back on the layer. Same with this, we can just group all of this back together, and this is already all back on the same cut layer. And with this, I just want to make sure that this is a good amount. So selecting the circle, then selecting the tab, we want to go with a Boolean subtract, so we just get that little cutout. And then that should be everything we need to do. All we need to do now is adjust these cut layers. So this is 250 millimeters with 100% cut power. And then this will do, let's say 45% on that engraving. We will do the engraving first. And all of these are grouped back together. So we can move these down, move this over, move this down. And we'll just frame this out on our machine and do the cut. Okay, so now all we have to do is take our favorite paint pens. I'll put a link in the video description. And then just give this ornament a bit of color. I'm just going to go with the classic red and green for Christmas. And maybe then just a little bit of white for the border to make it pop. And again, if you guys have any questions, I mean, I do appreciate all the comments and everything and the encouragement that everybody leaves. But if you do have questions about a project or a technique that maybe I didn't cover, or that I covered too quickly and you'd just like a little refresher, I'm more than happy to focus on that in another episode. Now, the anta will have to be glued in separately because we didn't have everything touching. But that is fine. This super glue that I have now is a larger bottle. It's not the gel, so it is pretty much a, once you touch it down, it is there for good. But it is easy to work with, as long as you have everything lined up. And you can use the cutout if you want as a alignment tool, just as long as you do not put too much over glue over on there to glue your actual template down. That would not be good at all. Yep, and like I thought, these letters are a little bit brittle, because they are so thin on these top parts, but I think it will add to the effect and will make it stand out and look a little bit more better here, or as Nick would say, more better. And you can see right here where the R is. That little bit of engraving did go over, so it allows us to know where to put that color. A little precision point there. And now we can take our white actually, let me save that other. You just have to watch where you store these pens, because if you do store them in your workshop, like I do, sometimes they will dry out. Well, that gives a nice couple little highlights there. So now all I gotta do is glue this on top of that. Got a little super glue out. And we don't need a ton, just a little drop here and there. Perfect. So now that that's done, we'll just put our bottle in. Before we put our bottle in, we want to make sure we get our ring. Let's make this ring a color here. Let's color this red. There it is. Alright, there you have it. With a simple technique of tracing the bottle, we were able to create this great hanging ornament. So now all we need to do is put a piece of cord on there. And this string is, I used twine originally, but it was fray. So I tried to find craft twine so it would be a little softer. And I found this. This is just an all cotton twine here. So you can hang that from your tree, give that as a gift, nice little stocking stuffer. And it's a very simple technique. The back is very plain. You can write your to and from, or even put your year on there. And you have your nice little capture on there. So in order to get the bottle out, you would just pivot and pull. So I would suggest trying to leave that ring in there because it is a very snug fit, or you can modify the design. But if you leave that ring in there, you can easily get that in and out with leaving that captured ring, and then this bottle is not falling out. So there you have it. If you have any questions about this design, let me know in the comments below, or if you have any questions in general, I'd love to hear from you. Well, until next time, my name is Steve. This is Wilmer Woodworks. I do appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed what you watched, I'll put a couple other playlists out so you can take a view. And Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. See you next time.